Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Bill Svoboda with us today. He's co-founder at CloseSimple, was also a founder of Code Monkey. Bill is brand evangelist at CloseSimple. He's also a speaker. He's helping title companies communicate with text messages and branded email, and the pizza tracker for title. We're going to talk about that today. This pod is presented to you by podpire.com. If you want to start your own podcast, monetize it, you can go to podpire.com. We have a free ebook and a masterclass teaching you how to monetize with YouTube AdSense, lead gen, and sponsors. Bill, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Hey there, Charles. You gave a great intro there. CloseSimple is the business, and we're a software in the title and escrow industry. In the real estate transaction, there's the realtor, there's mortgage, and there's title. And often there's a lot of software made for the realtor and mortgage. Well, we focus on that third part of the transaction, title, and really helping them communicate better and provide a safe and secure transaction, because there's a lot of money sent, as you know, with a home closing.
Yes. So how did you started your entrepreneurship journey? I believe Code Monkey was your first startup here in 2003. Tell me a bit more about that one and how it led to CloseSimple.
Yeah, my first business was actually in college. I was a college kid, and I'm sure a lot of people that would listen to this, when you're in college, you get a lot of free stuff. You get like free t-shirts, free bags, all that. Well, I was in charge of ordering t-shirts for my college dorm floor, and it was a big responsibility. So I ordered the shirts, and after about a month of working on it, the shirts come back and they're junk. My roommate Ryan goes, "Bill, I think we could do better. Why don't we start a business and we could make better shirts than that company that messed up?" So I was like naive enough as a college sophomore to go like, let's do it. Fast forward, started a business. It was called Coed Monkey, and online custom apparel company. By the time I sold it 15 years later, we worked with everybody from Facebook and LinkedIn to Google. We had like an NDA with a big customer that we couldn't even mention who it was. And it was a blast. I did a TEDx talk on, of all things, t-shirts. But as that business grew and as I kind of worked myself out of a job, an opportunity came to actually get into a whole different industry. I had this idea with a friend to create something for the real estate industry. Of all things, it happened over a sushi lunch, and my buddy told me what he was working on and just needed a little help. And I provided the gas to the fire, and before you know it, in my free time, air quotes, that as an entrepreneur, we lined up the #1 Remax franchises in the world as our first customer. And from there, the dominoes just kind of started going. The whole idea of, if you can track your Domino's pizza, why shouldn't you know the status of your $500,000 home, purchase? So that was it.
And how do you make money off that?
Well, title and escrow companies are our primary customers. So that first company that signed with us, that large Remax franchise, a year into the contract, this is about 2013, the owner pulls us aside and goes, "Guys, my realtors aren't using this thing, but forget them. I own a title company, and the #1 complaint from my realtors against my title company is bad communication. Could we take this tool and put it there?" So we did, without even knowing what title was. And basically, title companies just pay us a flat monthly fee for access to this based on their file usage and things like that. And it's been pretty awesome.
And so you actually retain large amounts of money, right? Doesn't that require some specific regulations and laws?
Well, our software doesn't actually retain any money. The title and escrow companies do. What our software does is helps with the communication. We created a branded portal for each title company. We do custom emails and text messages, kind of like, if you were going to get a haircut or your doctor visit, you're going to get a text message like, "Hey, reminder, it's coming up." That's what our software does. And in our portal, you can e-sign, you can upload documents, download, do all the stuff, as well as sending and receiving wiring instructions. So now we're creating that safe place so the title company has something they can direct their buyer, seller, realtors, and lenders to facilitate the transaction. We don't actually touch the money, though.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because people might freak out during that process, right? It's a lot of money. How much reminders do you send them, and how quick is it for me for my 500K to go to the other person?
Well, during the transaction, once you sign a purchase agreement with your real estate agent, it usually goes to a title company here in America. And from there, it could be 30, 40 days in the closing process. What our software does is similar to Domino's Pizza Tracker, where Domino's goes, we got your order, it's being, the dough's being tossed, the toppings are on, it's in the oven. Ours says, welcome to XYZ Title. Then it says, hey, title commitment is complete. Hey, closing is scheduled. It has these little reminders. We think the magic number for reminders during the closing process. Now, this doesn't include like the random email asking for something, but the number of email like reminders that we should have are between 5 to 6 to let the buyer or seller or realtor or lender know that things are happening. It's kind of like, you have a Facebook, you log in, or LinkedIn, you see that little red there, it says something happened. That's what we want to do. We want to provide those dopamine hits to the buyer, seller, realtor, lenders to let them know things are happening.
Okay, and it's not the end customer, your audience, it's the actual realtor.
Well, the title company is our customer. They're the ones who are paying for it. And realtors, buyers, sellers, and lenders are all getting the updates because of the tool that our company provides to title companies.
Such an interesting and small ish niche, right? I mean, it's not small because there's so many transactions. Do you have competitors in that field?
We have some, but nobody else came at this industry the way we did, starting with communication. A lot of other people started with different motivations, like different features that they tried to tackle. Ours started, we needed to get the buyer, seller, realtor, or lender to actually open up an email or a text message. If we could get that, we could get them to do something. Most other people, what they try to do is solve a different problem, like another part of the transaction. But still, if you can't get the end user to actually open the email or have it look good, because now we judge a business by how it looks. You're going to look at an email you get from somebody, like they don't look like they know what they're doing. Forget them. So we make them look good, which helps now that transaction happen better.
Right. And is there some legal weight to an online signature? Like, can you,
Oh, yeah.
as a company, get in trouble if something goes bad?
Well, there's always the risks of something going bad. We use DocuSign as our e-signing provider. It's on our website. Like, it's pretty awesome. Lining ourselves up with the industry standard in e-signing has been huge. But it's been really fun. It's been really fun focusing on this niche industry because when my business partner Paul and I got into this years ago, communication in the industry wasn't a big priority. It was more about just getting the file done and getting it done right and on time. Now it's about how do we do it efficiently? How do we do it better than the next company? Because we don't judge a company by the competition anymore. We judge a company by what we experience with Amazon or Uber or some other industry. If you could order something on Amazon today and get it tomorrow, you think like, why can't I sign a purchase agreement on a home and get it done tomorrow? You don't think about this is how this process works. We judge it by other industries. So we're helping this industry level up with just that communication and security aspect.
Right. And what are your goals for this year? How much customers do you have at this point?
Yeah, we have over 200 title companies using CloseSimple. Our goal this year is about a 50% growth. We've been really growing at a great pace as it's just been, more and more title companies are trusting our name to communicate and secure that transaction. We're kind of hitting that point now where our brand in the industry is hitting that tipping point where it's becoming more common. It just takes a while in a new industry.
You just switched to my AirPods. I'm gonna go get some Amazon package. Talking about that, tell me about the challenges you faced in the business in the last couple of years.
Well, I think everybody in this industry, we're in the We're in the real estate industry, so real estate markets are definitely, that affects things. You look at just technology, people spend during COVID, it right away, nobody wanted to spend money. And after COVID, during COVID, I should say, then once things were really busy in the real estate market, nobody had time to spend money. So we're constantly in this influx. Right now, it kind of feels like the market is actually kind of simmering down, settling down a little to where our customers are just going, hey, we need to solve some of these big tech problems and your solution can help. But just product market fit, that's been one of the biggest things. As fraud has been bigger, we've had to innovate and think, how are we going to secure the transaction, not just communicate during it anymore?
Right.
So
what about
innovate.
AI? Like, how have you integrated with AI this year, or any plans of doing so this year?
Well, right now, our AI that we're utilizing is more on the ID verification process, so identity verification, making sure that you are who you say you are when you're the consumer during the real estate transaction. So that's where we're starting with AI. We haven't gotten into the generative AI towards like creating content, all those things. There's a lot of application for AI in our industry, but it's very regulated. And it's hard to kind of dip your toes into AI in our standpoint, because we're trying to teach our customers how to use it at the same point. So it's very hard to just trust AI now on this $500,000 transaction that you're 100% liable for. They want to know that AI works right. So in our industry, we still have a little gap between where we are today and where AI is going to be just fully trusted.
Sorry, audio issue. Can you speak again, Bill?
Yeah, with AI right now, I would say we're kind of in this middle gap of people know they need it, but they're not fully trusting it yet. So we've embraced it with ID verification, with identity verification, making sure the buyer or seller is who they say they are, using AI to actually go, is this person who they say they are? Which is a pretty awesome first stab at AI in our industry. There's a lot of other applications that we can go to, but trust is one of the biggest thing, and proof is the other big thing in our industry. AI can't be, air quotes, false. So if it proves something wrong on a closing document, if it doesn't find something right on a search, that title company could be liable for it. So our industry is very reluctant to fully go into the AI camp and just go, we're all into AI. It's going to be an incremental thing, but we're starting with the ID verification, which is something that is a very good starting application.
And any growth initiatives this year? Like, what do you want to focus on to acquire more clients?
Our biggest thing is security during the closing process. If we can create a beautifully branded portal for a title company to drive their consumers and realtors and lenders to, then what we can do is start securing that transaction better. Catching fraud is a big one. We have one customer, for every 600 deals that come through their door, one of them is fraud, and we're catching it right at the start of the order.
And how does a fraud happen, for example?
Well, you could like Google or YouTube, like all the different types of fraud in the real estate industry. Like there's so many, and there's so many blogs dedicated to it. But I'll give you an example of a very common one today. It's called vacant land fraud, where a seller decides to sell a piece of property. The only problem is that person doesn't actually own it. It's just a piece of vacant land that the owner doesn't really live there, visit much, or anything. So somebody goes, I think I should sell it. So they contact a realtor, they do the whole thing. They create all the false documents, they do everything. And the title company doesn't know. And that consumer says, hey, I'm over in Paris, I can't come into the office. And excuse after excuse. A lot of it comes back to, there are certain protocols that if we can just institute in our industry, we're not going to fall prey to that type of fraud. But it's very hard with the number of transactions that are coming through. That's the saving grace for us, where we're just coming in, going with AI, with automation, we can actually help you catch that person that's a bad actor, that really doesn't own the property that's selling it. So that's one instance. There's a lot of other ones, including wire fraud. There's so many. Our industry, to say that our industry is on high alert is an understatement.
Yeah, it's fascinating, fraud, right? Because often we're like convincing ourselves as buyers that this is a great opportunity, right? We need to jump on it, and we're the ones actively convincing yourself that this is not a fraud, right? And if you feed that data to an AI, there's going to be definitely some red lights here, some red flags. You should double check that before you make a move. Why not charge a percentage on your end? Why go like a flat monthly rate?
Well, what we do is we put the title companies right into a price break where we go, you're in this quantity, like this is how many closings you're averaging, here's your quantity. What we're trying to do is incentivize growth on it. What we've realized is this was early on. If we actually did charge per file, what it's going to do is decentivize use for that title company's biggest customers. And by that, I mean, they might look at a realtor who does a lot of deals with them and go, hey, I already am doing 30 deals a year with this realtor. Do they really need this email and text update? No, I'm going to save X amount of dollars to not have them get it. The only issue then comes when the next title company gets it. So we didn't want to decentivize any use. We want it to be as like brand on point as possible. That title company's brand should represent this type of communication. We don't want them to break that for anything. So we love it when a title company is like right on the edge of that price break and we're like, hey, that's awesome. You did it. You're still in that price break. Like, stay there. We want them to grow. We want to see them at the bottom of a price point, go all the way to the top of it, and know that their business is growing with us and that they just know that they have that much to grow with.
And what's your plan with that company? Just scale it, sell it, or what do you have in mind for it?
Our biggest thing that we've looked at is we just got to build something worth building, something worth caring about. And, whether we sell it or not someday, the bigger thing that my business partner, Paul, and I look at is we just wanted to make a dent in this industry, and we're making somewhat of a dent right now. There's a lot more that we can do. So I would say we're just hungry to grow this thing and help title companies really get the praise for all the hard work that they're doing during the transaction, keeping it safe, making them look amazing. And, our work here is by no means done. We got a lot of work still to do. So it's been a fun thing, but, selling it someday, who knows? If the opportunity presents the right way, but we're all about this for the long haul. Our team, everything that we're doing is built on systems that really support the scale that we're looking at.
Right. On the content PR side of things, you accepted the invite to this podcast. Do you have a strategy on that level?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of content right now. We're actually redeveloping our website right now. We have a ton of content. In February, this is one of our things, came out with this Crush Fraud, Not Hearts. It's a mug because in our industry, around the world, February is Valentine's Day. It's all about love. So let's put it on its head a little, and we're going to crush fraud, not hearts, in February. And we have an AI generated music video. Never seen anything like this. I head up a lot of the marketing in the business, so spent hours working on this thing. We have a whole campaign just focused on how are we crushing fraud, not hearts, with our fraud protection package, and pretty excited to get that out in the world.
And what's GSR by CloseSimple?
Yeah, GSR, that's our magazine that we actually put out. Nobody else in the industry does something like this. We produce a magazine twice a year, Growth and Scale Report. And what that is, we highlight some of the biggest names in the industry and tell their stories on a print media. So we go to these conferences, and like this woman here, she's head of growth marketing, the whole thing at a huge title company out west, and putting her on the cover, the topic that we talked about, how marketing is really change management. You are not just marketing to a realtor or to somebody like, hey, switch title companies, come to us. What this article was about was talking about how what you're really dealing with is change management. You're talking about changing behaviors. So our magazine, the Growth and Scale Report, highlights people in the industry that are making waves, doing big things, and nobody's doing something like this. So it's been fun putting it out there, and we don't have any ads from other vendors or anybody else. It's all our own stuff. The magazines are crazy expensive to do, but we love doing it because it's like, hey, let's make our industry famous. Let's put some of the biggest names on it. Who's spending money like that anymore on that kind of stuff?
Do you use it as a lead gen strategy? For example, is that lady gonna become a client of yours?
Yeah, hopefully she's gonna be a client someday. I mean, we've known her for years, but our biggest thing with this, one, lead gen is awesome, but two, I would say my biggest thing is connecting our industry. It's like family. So by putting her on the cover or the next guy or the next gal on the cover, it's not looking at them and going like, I hope they're customers of ours. That would be great. But it's looking and going like, this person has a unique thing to share and they're not sharing it yet in the industry. So that's been the real fun thing for us because it's such a tight-knit industry that if we create something that's amazing, title companies are just going to keep working with us. I think one of my opportunities in our business is to really put other people on a platform and go, look at the amazing work that she's doing, that he's doing, that, these people are doing and they're not getting the credit for. So that's been a lot of fun for us. Getting a little, instead of a sales focus, put a people focus and go, how can I just make other people look amazing? And that's really the core of our business.
Right. And how do you generate insights nowadays? What's your knowledge system to upgrade that brain of yours?
Well, a lot of it's coming from current customers. My business partner, Paul, and our head of product, Nate, were on with a customer 2 years ago. And that customer was like, yeah, there's this new type of fraud, vacant land fraud. And we were like, what is that? And Paul and Nate were like, what is it? So that customer talked to them, told them what it was and said, hey, could you build something for this? And it's like, I bet we could. And that was literally the insight that led to this whole, what we call early scan, which stops vacant land fraud before it starts. It's crazy. So I think as you grow, it's more important. How are you listening? How are you looking for insights? How are you not just the smartest person in the room, but really relying on your customers? And how are you doing things in the industry to just prop up your industry? I've been blessed in my position to really go do things like this and make other people look amazing and just raise awareness for what title does. And, the rest of my team's working hard on the product. We have an amazing staff that onboards and supports, it's been really cool to see our company grow.
Right. And in your personal life, what's your day to day like? I see that you have met your wife some time ago, recently got married. She's also a founder. So how do you balance all of that out?
It's amazing. I was single for a while, got married a little later in life, met the right girl, and just, you knew what, it was like, boom, we're gonna do this thing. And what's cool is I don't like feeling like this overlap where it's got to be like we're working on stuff together, because then it just becomes work. I don't want that to be a marriage, work together on work. What's fun is she has her business. It's called Champagne Ivy. It's an event business, and I get to add some insight to it. I help with the events. I'll like MC it, based on what she wants me to say. And these are huge events where people are paying a lot of money to come. One of the events that we do is a thing called Taste the Movies, tastethemovies.com. We'll do a movie, pair it with food, and the tickets are like $160, but you get like 7 courses that go with the movie. Like for Christmas, we had Home Alone and Elf, and these are all her ideas. She's working with the venues, working with the chefs, catering it. And it's just fun to see her really, doing it. And I showed her what I knew about SEO and social media and stuff, and boom, she just runs with it, and she teaches me stuff too. So it's been a blast.
I love the Taste the Movies idea. I was on the website, and yeah, I actually do that naturally, like sort of adapt the food to the movie. Home Alone,
if you're in Minnesota,
some ice cream,
Yep.
and all of that good food. So yeah, great stuff there. Where can people find out more about you, Bill?
Well, just LinkedIn, Bill Svoboda, look me up, or billsvoboda.com. That's my personal website, billsvoboda.com. It's a tough name. Svoboda, Svoboda. But if you find it, there's some good stuff there about CloseSimple, about my speaking. I do a lot of speaking in our industry, in the real estate and mortgage, and recently came out with a kids book too in my spare time. So that was kind of fun.
Bill Svoboda and Charles